Here's another example of the sort of driver behavior that makes it difficult for cyclists who believe in law-abiding cycling to convince other cyclists to follow the law. Just to recap, the driver of the black pickup truck honked to demand that I pull over, and then when I didn't, he made a close pass in the same lane, even though the other lane was completely free, presumably to teach me a lesson. If you want to know why this matters, consider the sidewalk cyclist we just passed. Cyclists should not ride on the sidewalk. It endangers pedestrians. But it's very difficult to persuade them not to do it when motorists willfully endanger us. And if you didn't notice, we've caught up to the truck again. He risked hitting me, a major lawsuit, a ruined day, possibly even criminal charges, for exactly nothing. Not even a second saved. I've got trucks passing me, a bit too close for comfort, but since there are cars in the left lane, they can't just shift over to give me more room, although I'd like them to slow down a bit. Now, in a moment we're going to come up on a car where the driver is just going to crack the door in my path. Here he goes. That is quite dangerous too. This is a very uncomfortable environment, but it's not all that uncivil. Passing a cyclist, courteously or rudely, safely or unsafely, just doesn't usually save you much time, if any, as we see here. In case anybody thinks that I had plenty of room to pull over at the intersection where this started, I've overlaid the picture here with a yellow line which shows the line between two curbs. This is an area where it's dangerous and in fact not particularly legal for cyclists to operate. I'm not all that far from that yellow line. I'm certainly not balanced right on top of it. Being passed in an intersection, particularly like this one, can be a very uncomfortable thing for a cyclist. I do want room sometimes, and as you've seen from this video, when I take it, I'm not holding anybody up. What do we take away from all of this? Well, when I rolled up to the intersection where I got honked at, buzzed, and yelled at, I did it on a red light. If I'd filtered past the car in front of me, jumped the red, and gone straight on, I probably wouldn't have gotten honked at, buzzed at, or yelled at. Alternatively, I could have ridden on the sidewalk. I would have endangered quite a few pedestrians. As you can see, there were actually quite a few pedestrians on the sidewalk along the way. But I would not have gotten honked at, I would certainly not have gotten buzzed, and I wouldn't have gotten yelled at. Cyclists face hazards. Most of those hazards we can't do anything about, as long as people with a 0.5 millimeter of cotton for protection mingle with people with a 2-ton steel cage for protection. We don't have to add to those hazards. When motorists harass cyclists, when motorists endanger cyclists, without even the miserable excuse that the cyclists really do hold them up, which we don't, then not only do we endanger cyclists, but we punish good behavior on the part of cyclists. And that endangers every other vulnerable road user as well. I've said, and I believe, that cyclists who encourage or condone bad behavior by other cyclists bear some responsibility when that behavior produces a tragedy. But I'll tell you this, motorists who punish cyclists trying to cycle safely, legally, and ethically they carry a whole lot more responsibility. Thank you, and safe roads.